On August 22nd or 23rd, depending on your time zone, we're going to have a wildly unpredictable, intense new moon in the Earth sign of Virgo. This new moon is supporting us to free ourselves of anything that's been holding us back, including our mindset, our emotional attachments. And part of what is going to help us do that is a square, the new moon squaring Uranus in Gemini, the wild card energy that can bring shocks, disruptive events, something that we never saw coming. But also Uranus can bring epiphanies, aha moments, insights that free us. And that is the goal of this new moon, my friend, to free you to follow the trajectory of your soul, your heart's desire. This new moon jumpstarts eclipse season, and this is what I'm going to be sharing with you in part one of this video, along with who will most feel these energies, what are the planetary conversations going on, how do they fill out the nuances of the story, and most importantly, how you can navigate this new moon with the most ease and grace. So part one is the how. Part two is the what and where. Where are you going to be feeling in your natal astrology chart based on the whole sign house system and your rising sign? Where will you be feeling this new moon? That's part two, and I'll also be pulling an oracle card for each of the signs as well. Be sure to listen to your rising sign, but also your sun and moon signs, because they can all play a part in the themes that go on in your personal new moon story. So I'm super excited to get into this new moon in Virgo that jumpstarts eclipse season. But before I do want to welcome you if you are brand new to the channel. This is a like-minded community. If you are highly sensitive, on a spiritual path, or an ascension journey, you are in the right place. I am glad that you have found us. Take a moment right now to tap the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a video. Welcome back. If you have been watching the videos, thank you so much for your subscribes. Thank you so much for your presence here. It is always my intention to empower you and inspire you through Western tropical astrology. If you don't know me, I'm Betsy Gutting. I am a psychic astrologer as well as an intuitive life coach. I do professional astrology consultations, and I will tell you more about my offerings at the end of this video. I also have a free gift for you, so stay tuned till the end. I'll tell you what the free gift is and how you can get it, and if you'd like to receive my weekly inspirational astrology updates, which is me sharing with you the astrology between videos. If you'd like to receive those, go to my website, sign up for free, and you will get my free instant download gift at the same time. Now, this is a special new moon, and I'm going to tell you why in a moment. All new moons are times of reflection. All new moons are when we can't see the moon in the sky. It's meant to be a time that we go inward and we get clear on what we want to manifest going forward in this next moon cycle. This is the time that we set intentions, that we plant those seeds, as we say, for what we want to create going forward. And also during all new moons, the sun and the moon are together. They're conferring, they're deciding what's next for me, what's most important to me now, where do I want to put my energy? Now, why is this new moon different? It's different because 2 weeks after this new moon, we're going to have our first eclipse of eclipse season. It's going to be a lunar eclipse in Pisces. Virgo and Pisces are on the same axis. They're opposite each other on the zodiac wheel. So this new moon in Virgo is going to have a mini culmination 2 weeks later in a lunar eclipse in Pisces. And a lunar eclipse is an ending, a closing out, a completion. Of course, I will do a separate video for you on that eclipse, as I always do. But it's important to bring up now so that we realize eclipse season is beginning now with this new moon. And eclipses bring change. They pick us up and put us down in the place that we're meant to be. And if that's not a physical move, if that's not a change of jobs or a shift in a relationship or an actual moving your home somewhere, often it is a major mindset shift, a truth that comes to light, something that happens that wakes us up, that requires a pivot, as we say, or if not a pivot, it's definitely something we look back later on our life and say, that was a turning point for me. That's when such and such happened, and it changed my life. They are life-changing eclipses oftentimes. Eclipses are connected to destiny and fate. And as exciting as the idea of something destined happening for us, as exciting as that is, it can be very discombobulating for our human self. Our human self often doesn't want change. Some of you are probably saying, no, I want change. I am super ready for a change. Some of you may already know, I'm going to go do this. I'm retiring. I'm getting married. I'm moving across the country. Some of you may know that. But if you don't know what change is coming for you, we can feel quite anxious. It can bring about anxiety. So 2 weeks from now, we have a mini culmination of this new moon. But 6 months from now is when it's more likely to play out. In other words, if you set a goal during this time, you set an intention, there's something that you decide you want. Oftentimes, we see that come into reality 6 months later. Or because it's eclipse season, it can show up when we're finished with the eclipses in Pisces and Virgo, which would be 2027. New and full moons are great times to do rituals, and because it's earth energy, it's what we can touch and feel in Virgo. You may want to do something like make an altar and do something that brings in fire, like a candle, water, something earthy, and then speak out loud, which is air. Speak out loud or write down what your heart most wants and send that out into the ethers. Also, as part of your ritual, you might want to sage yourself or use Palo Santo or something that is purifying and cleansing, because that's Virgo energy also. So what themes can we expect to come up as we navigate this new moon that is going to culminate in our first eclipse? Virgo is a highly sensitive earth sign. It's connected to the physical body, our health on all levels, our daily work, whether it's a healthy work environment or whether we have toxicity in our relationships, for example, with a coworker, with a boss. This new moon wants us to look at our daily routines and, even more important, how we use and manage our energy, which starts from the inside, right? As this eclipse season is happening amidst a time of massive change with so many outer planets changing signs, this new moon is significantly preparing us to lighten our load as we walk into the fall in the Northern Hemisphere, but also we get closer to 2026. We're being prepared right now. And in Virgo energy, we're being prepared on all levels of our health, physical body, emotional body, mental, spiritual. So this is a great time to do any sort of healing, detoxifying, to start a new habit or shed a habit, to declutter spaces, to wash your car, to sage your home, to rid yourself of anything that you don't need. And it's very possible, this could have even happened during the Aquarius full moon, which preceded this new moon. It's very possible that you have become aware of something that is draining your energy and something that you are no longer willing to tolerate in your life. And it could be a way of being for you. It's not necessarily something that's coming from outside of you. In fact, I feel that this new moon is taking us inward and showing many of us a way of thinking, a way of perceiving how we interact with our environment, with the people that we spend time with our work, our relationship to our daily life situations. That's what I think this new moon is going to show us. And that's where the paradigm shift is meant to happen. Every sign has a high octave and a lower octave of the energy. The light and dark, we're meant to shine our light, but also to recognize the shadow and release that. So the light of Virgo energy is the practical healer archetype, the desire to improve situations, the very strong, sincere, and devoted, often devoted intention to help other people, to serve. Wherever you have Virgo energy in your chart, my friend, this is where you can help yourself and other people create order out of chaos. It may be where you excel at problem solving, where you go the extra mile. If you have strong Virgo in your chart or you know other people who do, it's Virgo energy that helps us to get things done, to plan, to organize, and to hone in on the details that we need to pay attention to if we're signing a contract, for example, if we're trying to get to the root of something that requires a real attention to the minutia. Virgo excels at that. In fact, a lot of Virgos are coaches, yoga teachers, massage therapists, physician assistants or physicians, and a lot of other careers too. If you want a great personal assistant, hire someone who has strong Virgo in their chart. However, the lower octave of Virgo energy is overgiving, self-sacrifice, volunteering to pick up the slack if someone in the office isn't doing their part. Virgos are the workhorses of the zodiac. And that devotion can be incredibly valuable. However, when it becomes a drain or when you burn out as a result, or you're underpaid or underappreciated, in other words, your cup is constantly being emptied but not being filled back up again, this is what this new moon in Virgo wants us to rectify. After all, this being eclipse season, the North Node is in Pisces, the South Node is in Virgo, and the South Node is where we are meant to release the shadow of that Virgo energy. Now, stay with me for a moment because this is really important. This is key to understand, and that is, why do we, and this isn't just people who have strong Virgo in their chart, this is anyone with Virgo energy, which is all of us. We all have Virgo someplace in our chart. With this new moon in Virgo, it will be brought to a lot of our attention where we may be holding ourselves to a standard that is too high, that is perfectionistic, that is not sustainable. And I know I'm going deep with you. This is deep. Why would we do this? Why would any human set a standard for themselves or for other people that ends up being ultimately draining? Why would we do this? Every single one of us has a core need to be loved, to feel lovable, to belong. Every single one of us does. And when we were children, we got that need met from our caregivers when we did things or acted in ways that were pleasing and acceptable to our caregivers. And when we didn't, we got the opposite, many of us. A lot of empaths, highly sensitive people, children in past lives. You don't have to believe in past lives to understand this. As children may have been harshly criticized, bullied, left out, excluded, or in past lives often shunned, ostracized, or persecuted. Or despite very well-meaning parents who didn't have the tools, you could have been deprived of the love and care that you needed to feel secure and worthy in who you are, to know that you deserve to thrive, not just survive. And so for many of us on a spiritual path, as a result of not having our emotional needs met when we were children, we can be extra sensitive, highly sensitive to what other people say and do, or to what's going on outside of us in the media, with politicians. We can feel extra emotionally triggered by other people's behavior, even when we absolutely have no control over any of that. And this is what this new moon wants to free us from so that we can contribute what we came here to contribute. This is the mindset shift that we need to make in order to soar forward in this new territory that we're moving into as our souls move past, have moved past, and continue to move past the conditioning of our ego selves. We're graduating from that. We're moving past that. And the aspects to this new moon fill out that story. They show us what's going on. But there are three main aspects that are going to help you to understand this new moon story for yourself. But before I jump into that, I want to say who will most feel this new moon? It is happening at 0 degrees. 0 degrees is a clean slate. It is pure potential, unlimited possibility. But it's also zero, the 0 degree point. It is also what we call an anaretic or critical degree, and that heightens the intensity of this new moon. If you have planets or points between 0 and 4 degrees of Virgo or the other mutable signs, Pisces, Gemini, or Sagittarius, you are going to feel this new moon more personally and intensely. Or if you have planets or points between 26 and 29 degrees of the fixed signs, Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, or Taurus, you will also feel this new moon more intensely. But of course, especially because Uranus is involved, we are all going to feel this new moon in the collective. And as I'm about to dive into the aspects, I have a question for you. And that question is, if you did not have a past, if you had no past failures, if you had no excuses for why you can't receive, achieve, experience what your heart most wants, if you had no reasons at all for why you can't have it, what would you say yes to? What would you give yourself permission to do, be, or have? Because this new moon at 0 degrees of Virgo, in a sign that rules our lifestyle, our everyday comings and goings, how we set up the rhythm of our life, how we use our energy, it is saying it is time to look at what in our own mindset is holding us back from saying yes to our heart. Now, Virgo has 2 rulers. The first ruler, the one we most commonly associate with Virgo, is Mercury. Mercury is the sign that rules our thinking, our inner narrative, the story we tell about ourselves and our life and what we can experience, what we can have, why we don't have what we have, our communication on all levels. Mercury is also our insights. And because Mercury has been retrograde and is still, during this new moon, still in the post-retrograde shadow period, meaning it's retracing its steps back over the degrees over which it went retrograde. So we're not in new territory yet. Because of this is a time that we are meant to apply and integrate any insight, any learning that we had during the Mercury retrograde time. So you might want to ask yourself, did I get an insight? Did I get an aha moment? What shifted in my mind? What did I realize I needed to do differently? Or maybe you've been working on refining something, reviewing something. Maybe you've changed a plan. Whatever it is, that might come up during this new moon. Mercury also rules our choices and our decisions. And because, again, this is eclipse season, any decision that you make between now and the end of September may very well be a pivotal decision for you. The most easeful, flowing planetary conversation that is happening during this new moon is Mercury in Leo, harmonizing with Mars in Libra. So this is the fire of Leo, the air of Mars in Libra. This air to fire may very well spark something that is really inspiring to us, that really gets us going, that gets us moving. This is a desire, I feel, to get moving on something. And it will likely come through our conversations because it's Mercury, or our thinking. It could involve a relationship. Libra is connected to Venus and relationships. It could involve a contract that you're signing, an agreement that you're making with someone, or something that you're renegotiating with another person or company, or something legal even. Libra rules the scales. Libra also rules justice. So for a lot of us right now, we do desire justice in some area of our lives. And we can take steps to get that, but we also have to keep in mind that ultimately it's the universe that is in charge of orchestrating justice. But you could find yourself a bit more courageous, a bit more bold in your communication and the actions that you're willing to take, because Mercury is in the fire sign of Leo. Now, the most dynamic, the most activating aspect is the new moon making a square, which is a hard aspect, a square to Uranus in Gemini. Uranus is the great awakener. Uranus energy shows up in our face. We can't hide from it. It is a sudden change that we didn't expect. It can be a shock. It can be a jolt. It can be really discombobulating. One moment everything was flowing, and the next moment something just broke. And it's a big deal, something that broke. Or we find out news, or somebody says something, especially because it's Gemini energy, and Gemini is the communicator. Virgo is also ruled by Mercury, like Gemini. So this is likely going to be communication kinds of things that come to light, news headlines, politicians saying shocking things, possibly. It could very well involve the spoken or written word. However, if you watched my videos before, you know that I actually really love Uranus energy. I don't love when it comes as a shock or a jolt. I don't love the squares. They can be quite uncomfortable, for sure. But Uranus wants to free and liberate us. Uranus wants to show us another way. It does break us free from stagnation. It will show us when we're off course. Especially, and I think this is going to be true for this new moon in particular, because we can over-sacrifice, we can deprive ourselves in Virgo energy, especially if we've been undercutting ourselves in some way, not giving ourselves credit, not earning enough money, not asking for enough from the universe, not feeling like we deserve what our heart most wants. In some way, Uranus wants to rectify that. And I'm going to give you a quick example. Years ago, when I traveled with my former husband to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, I think it was about 20 years ago, we agreed that this would be a more frugal vacation. Mexico was cheap. We didn't have a lot of money. Let's just go. We'll just enjoy the beach. We'll enjoy the food. We don't need to go do the excursions and all of that. That was our agreement. However, one day after a lovely day, we took a local bus to the northern part of the area, Punta Mita, if you know it. We came back, we got off the bus. My former husband's searching for our hotel key, and he realizes he doesn't have his wallet. He lost his wallet, and he's freaking out. Understandably, when you lose your wallet, when you lose your money, your credit cards, all of that in a foreign country, and you can't speak the language very well, that is a very upsetting thing to have happen. And we went back to the bus station. We searched all these buses. We tried to speak in the broken Spanish that we knew at the time. We tried to speak to them, but we never found it. And meanwhile, we were staying at a hotel too. No cell phones back then. At least we didn't have one. And we're staying at a hotel where the hotel reception also couldn't help us figure out how to dial out to our credit card company so that we could cancel our credit card. Fortunately, it all got figured out within about 24 hours. And we didn't have a lot of cash in his wallet, thank goodness. But the tension between him and I, when all of that was going on, was really high, especially because I think he was kind of beating himself up for not paying attention to his wallet, slipping out of his pocket. But here's why I'm telling you this story. It was a Uranus transit. It was really frustrating, uncomfortable, unexpected, brought us both down emotionally. And fortunately, I did have an ATM card that we were able to use to get more cash. But the next day when we woke up, I said, we're changing the energy here. We're shifting the energy. I want to go out and see the dolphins. I want to take one of those boat excursions where they give you lunch, they give you a margarita. You get to hold on to the railings of the boat and have the boat pull you in the water, which is what we did. And I insisted with him. I said, we are not going to continue this deprivation that we've been doing on this vacation. We're going to give ourselves what we deserve. And fortunately, I did have an ATM card that we were able to use to get more cash. And we did end up having more fun than we were having, I would say, before he lost his wallet. So if you get a discombobulating Uranus shakeup during this new moon, my friend, Uranus will shake us up to wake us up. It is going to align you more powerfully with your true spirit, with your authentic expression, or show you what needs to shift in your own mindset, perhaps. Keep in mind that with any Uranus transit, we really need to ground our energy. This is a Virgo new moon, which is very grounding, so I think that will help, but it is also Mercury ruled, and that can, we can let ourselves float into anxiety or just be floating in the ethers, and so we want to really ground, walking in nature, whatever you do to ground your energy. Also, be extra careful with anything electrical or mechanical when you're driving, when you're cooking, if you're using power tools, be extra cautious and careful. We can have more accidents with a Uranus square, especially. And often we feel a nervous system it's electrical energy. We feel overloaded in our nervous system often. Our sleep can be disrupted. So give yourself extra TLC during this new moon. Now, finally, the last planetary conversation I want to tell you about, and this is very important and it ties everything together, is that Venus in Cancer, and Venus rules our money, beauty, pleasure. Venus in Cancer rules what makes us feel most emotionally secure. Venus is connected to the mother. We are highly, highly sensitive with Venus in Cancer. It's extra psychic. It takes us back to the beginning of where our emotional needs met as children or were they not. And during the new moon, Venus in Cancer is going to make a square to Chiron in Aries. Chiron is the co-ruler of Virgo energy. Not all astrologers follow this, but a lot of us do. And that makes this aspect between Venus in Cancer and Chiron in Aries, the square aspect, that much more potent. Chiron is the archetype of the wounded healer. It represents a core wound. We all have a core wound. None of us escapes this. We all come into this human experience with a core wound of abandonment, betrayal, or shame that we are meant to heal. And yes, many of us have experienced a combination of those things, but we are meant to heal it in this lifetime, or at least to make strides on healing it. But it's also where our greatest wound often becomes our greatest strength. For example, if you were bullied as a child, you may become someone who's a protector of other people who are highly sensitive or vulnerable. It's where we can help other people heal from their core wound. So what's happening here is Venus in Cancer. It's all about us meeting our emotional needs, emotional security. Venus in Cancer is squaring Chiron and Aries, bringing up a core wound for us to be aware of to heal. Another reason that this is a paradigm shifting new moon. With Chiron and Aries, that wound can be connected to a feeling that you have to prove yourself, you have to perform well. Sometimes it's a feeling that you really have to strive and be successful and be the best, even the best at what you do. And with a square like this, it's tension or pressure that activates a need to take some sort of action. And in this case, it's action to heal whatever is coming up for you. So during this new moon, I highly encourage all of us to be very aware of the emotional responses, however subtle they are, because a lot of us have healed a lot of our emotional wounding. We've healed a lot of it. But as a spiritual psychotherapist said to me once, there are many layers, and this could bring up a layer that is quite subtle, but nonetheless very freeing when we process the emotions that are attached to it. This new moon is strongly supporting us, encouraging us to accept ourselves as we are, to release self-judgment, to bring in deep compassion for ourselves and others, regardless of what other people expect of us, don't expect of us, whether they're disappointed, whether we're setting a boundary that they don't like. They don't have to like it. That in itself can be very freeing. But if you know that you are coming from a place of pure intention, if you are accepting yourself, loving yourself as you are, you can know that that is enough. You are enough. You are enough. Okay, my friends, we are now going to do the 12 sign readings. Listen to your rising sign. The rising sign is the area of your life based on the whole sign house system, the area of your life in which you will feel this moon, the themes that I'm going to talk about. But also listen to your sun and your moon signs, because your sun and moon signs will have additional themes and areas of life that may very well come into play during this new moon. And I'm going to pull an oracle card for all of the signs as well, so you'll get further intuitive messages from listening to all three of your signs. And we're going to start with Virgo, because beautiful Virgo, this is your new moon. Happy, happy birthday, beautiful Virgo. And it's a very important new moon, as I speak about in part one of this video, because it is the beginning of eclipse season. It is not an eclipse in and of itself, but it is culminating, a mini culmination 2 weeks after it happens in a lunar eclipse in Pisces. And then, of course, 6 months from now, this new moon is going to culminate in a lunar eclipse in your sign, Virgo. So this is very much jump-starting, getting eclipse season rolling. So why is that important? Because eclipses move us in a new direction often. They wake us up, they put us in a new place, literally sometimes, but also just metaphorically. They can change our thinking. They free us in some way. They take us out of stagnation if we've been stagnant. And for you, Virgo, because, the Virgo and Pisces placements, and this is whether it's your rising, your sun, or any other planet or point that you have in Virgo or Pisces, is going to, you're going to feel this. You're going to feel it strongly because the lunar nodes are in Pisces and Virgo, and that is what makes an eclipse, where the lunar nodes are. This is your energy. This is your energy. So it's a new moon, so it's a new beginning. It is a fresh start, 0 degrees. Anything is possible. What do you want to create in your life? In your first house, a new moon, this is about a role, a responsibility that you want to take on or already take on. And when I say role, I mean your personal life or your professional life. Any family relationships, any relationships with significant others can come into play here. A vision for how you want to experience your relationships could be part of this, but also it's the house of the I am, the first house. I am, you fill in the blank. What do you want? Like it could be a feeling quality. It could be I am joyful. I am highly creative. I am energized and revitalized. It could be a feeling quality, but it could also, Virgo, be I am a business owner. I am maybe it's a title of a board position that you want to take, or maybe it's a community leader. So many different ways. Or maybe you want to have a child. Maybe you want to get married. Maybe you want to be single again if you've been partnered. Like there are so many different ways, of course, that I could describe it, but you get the idea. This, for a lot of you, will be a real turning point. This eclipse season, this is the first lunation that begins this new trajectory that you are on. And because it's a new moon, it's time to say what your vision is. It's time to envision what your heart most wants. So be sure and watch part 1 of this video if you haven't already, because I go into what is there's a deeper layer going on during this new moon, which I'm not going to repeat here, but there's a deeper level that wants to help us free ourselves emotionally. Emotional freedom is what ultimately, this new moon squaring Uranus and Gemini, squares from Uranus. Again, I go all into that in the first part of this video. It wants to free you emotionally from anything that's been holding you back, but especially thinking and mindset and, attachments to things that we can't control. That's what we're being supported to free and liberate ourselves from during this new moon. Also, you could have a vision for a shift in your physical vitality. If you want to change the way you're doing things that bring you vitality, what boosts your energy, what drains your energy, your appearance. If you want to shift the way you see yourself in some way, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, because Virgo, a lot of you guys, girls, gals, you are really hard on yourselves. That's Virgo energy. You can be so hard on yourself. You can be so meticulous, and your meticulousness has wonderful, it gets you far. Like there's nobody that I would rather have work with me, for me, assist me than a Virgo, because you're so reliable. And I know that you are going to have a high standard, but also you can turn, things you have no control over, other people's opinions, other people's perceptions, you can turn them inward on yourself. And that's not obviously going to move you forward. This is about emotional freedom, freeing you to be who you are, free to be you, completely free to be you. So Virgo, let us pull a card. I'm going to pull a card for you now and see what the cards have to say. For your new moon, this is a big deal. Watch my video on the lunar nodes in Pisces and Virgo if you haven't already, because those are going to give you a lot more information about this eclipse season as well. And then I will also do separate videos on both eclipses. Okay, so Virgo, we have shuffled. Let us see. This is going to be a healing new moon, as I speak about in this video. This is the time to really be aware of anything that is snagging you, especially emotionally or physically, and rectify it. And there are a lot of processes for that, that you can do. Radical self-acceptance, deep self-compassion. That's a couple of them. Okay, here we go. Here we go, Virgo. Your card is Mother Earth, feel loved and comforted. It says this, yes, comforted. This is your card, Virgo. It is the earth. This is you. This is totally you. I love the synchronicity of this. All of the greenery. She is fully adorned. This is saying, what do you want to be pregnant with? What do you want to birth? What do you want to bring into form? Do you see the peace on her face? She's a humanitarian. She has a real concern for Mother Earth, but she also has, there's so much fertility in this card. She also has, and she's exuding a knowing that all is well. All is well. Be loved and comforted. And if you don't feel like you're receiving that from others, this new moon is saying, give that to yourself. I love the question, what would love do here? What would self-love do here? Whatever answer you get is what you're meant to do. Call on your angels and guides, call a friend, get an astrology reading or a coaching session if that would help you. I provide both of those. But the idea here is that love and comfort, they are the foundation of your well-being. They're the foundation of anything that you want to do or accomplish. So put yourself first. Put your own well-being first. Beautiful Virgo. Leo, beautiful Leo, you are going to experience this new moon, this fresh start, this beginning of eclipse season in your second house of material security. This whole eclipse season, beginning with this new moon, our first eclipse in Pisces, then our second eclipse, this eclipse season is going to be focused for you on financial security or material security or self-worth, deserving self-love. Do you feel deserving? Do you feel worthy of the things that you most want? It's a new moon, so it's saying, what is your vision for material security for yourself? Some of you are probably thinking about how much money you earn. Some of you want a promotion. Some of you want to get another job. Some of you want to start a business. Some of you may want to do a side gig. Or you could be focused on, I know that I deserve more. I want to stay in the line of work that I'm in, or I want to stay at this company, or I want to stay in this business that I have, that you're the owner of possibly, but you want to bring the amount of money that's coming in, you want to align that with what you know you deserve. You could be up-leveling your sense of deserving, or you could be releasing a pattern or a habit that is keeping you from feeling good about yourself, or where you're feeling like your cup, as I said in part one of this video, that your cup is flowing out, but it's not being replenished. That's true for some of you. Could be true for some of you. That some of us have a habit of giving more than we take, giving more than we allow ourselves to receive. It's not sustainable. These eclipses are saying we have to plug any energy leaks. So what will make you feel more materially secure, Leo? That is what I encourage you to set intentions around. You might want to do a new moon ritual. I talk about how you might do that in part one of this video. What does your heart most want? You are ruled by the sun and you rule the heart. You're connected to the heart. So you have no choice, Leo. And I know you already know this. You have no choice but to follow your heart, but to say yes to your heart. And maybe there is a boost that you can give yourself in, you are what we call the spiritual royalty. Usually your self-esteem is quite strong. Usually you know what you deserve. A lot of you do. So Leo, whatever your vision is that's going to make you feel more deserving, more loved, more in your spiritual royalty, so to speak, more, and maybe it's lightening your load emotionally, or maybe it's lightening something so that you don't have to work as hard. Maybe you're working smarter. Maybe you're putting in fewer hours, but you're receiving more money, or whatever material security is for you. Okay, so let me pull a card for you now. Shuffling. For Leos. And Leo, because Mercury is still in your sign during this new moon, it's making a sextile to Mars. That is a really supportive sextile, harmonious energy that is flowing for you in anything that you want to rebalance in your life, any agreements you want to make, any relationship-oriented decisions that you're making, or where you get a new spark of inspiration. That's very supported during this new moon as well. So let's see what the cards have to say for you, Leo. Your card is the moon. Take note of intuitive messages. This is a very intuitive energy, Leo. Virgo is a very intuitive energy. And so if you don't already track the moon cycles, you are being very much encouraged by this card to do so, to track the differences between the dark moon, which is where we are here with the new moon, all the way to the full moon. and begin to be aware of your intuitive messages that you're getting, because that is the moon. The moon is where we are psychic, where we receive our psychic awarenesses. And during this new moon, you're going to get some intuitive message, insight, revelation that is going to potentially shift the course of the next chapter of your life, because this is the beginning of eclipse season. So if anything that I shared resonates for you and you want to share in the comments below, I would love to hear. Cancer. Hello, beautiful Cancer. Cancer, I have my moon and my rising in Cancer. And this new moon is happening for Cancer risings in your third house. And if you're Cancer sun or you have other placements in Cancer, listen to the themes that I'm sharing. They are still applicable. So the third house, what is the third house? Well, first of all, before I talk about the third house, Cancer energy gets a sextile from this new moon, and that's really lovely. A sextile is harmonious. It's a potential opportunity. It's a solution. It's something that helps you to create something solid and stable in your life, something that you want, something that you desire. So, in other words, this new moon harmonizes with your Cancer energy, which is lovely. The third house is the house I call moving and shaking. Everyday stuff, errands, coffee dates, where you work out, where you get your groceries. It's, moving and shaking, comings and goings. It's also any relationship that you have that comes up during this new moon with a sibling, a neighbor, an extended family member, aunt, uncle, cousin. This brings in anything going on in your neighborhood. As I speak about in part 1 of this video at length, I go much deeper on this new moon is supporting us to free and liberate ourselves from something where we felt stuck, where we have felt stagnant, and this is the house of mindset and communication. Your story, whatever your story is, we all have a story, right? And when it comes to what your heart most wants, we have a story about that too. Do we think we can have what our heart most wants? Are we making excuses for why we're not doing this or that? Are we saying, reasons, excuses? They can be the same thing, right? What are the things that we see are in the way of what we want, are in the way of our happiness, are in the way of our fulfillment, your fulfillment right now? That's what this new moon is bringing up. And it's encouraging us to free ourselves from that mindset, those ideas, anything limiting in our head. And because it's the third house, the third house does rule our thinking. It's the house of learning and growth and writing and emailing, and something very likely is going to come up for Cancer people that is discombobulated for everyone. Everyone, regardless of your sign, is going to have a moment, most likely, or if this new moon is close to any of your planets or points. Who's most affected? I share that in part 1. If you are one of those people, it's very possible that you will receive an insight, an epiphany, an aha moment, a revelation, or something that is more jarring, unexpected, that then redirects your mindset, shifts your mindset. That's why I said this is a paradigm shifting new moon, because we're meant to free ourselves from what for a lot of us is early childhood or past life experiences that were traumatic in some way, that still keep us tethered to our external reality in some way, needing to work out. In other words, many of us will say, I don't need so-and-so to like me. I don't care what other people think. Most of us at this point in our journey, we say, I used to care, I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore about what anyone thinks. But on a very, very cellular level, on a deep level, because there are many layers, on a very deep level, a lot of us are still trying to keep ourselves safe from external danger. That is the lizard brain. It's wired into us. It's wired into us to please others so that we can stay safe. And this is why this new moon is so shifting, and all of eclipse season, really. It wants us to release that shadow that can be very buried underneath the surface, where we're still trying to control things in life that aren't controllable, including what other people think of us. And again, you might not relate to that, but on some level, most of us are meant to free ourselves from something that we're trying to control that is not controllable. That's this new moon. And so in that way, it's very exciting and very freeing. Also on a very practical level, this new moon could be for you that you want to sell a car or buy a new car. You might want to change a device that you have. You might get more excited about travel, short trips, or even long distance travel, writing, speaking, taking a course, teaching a course, leasing an office, or leasing a new home. Those are just a few of the things that could come up for you. So it's happening on a lot of different levels. I know, Cancer. Let me pull a card for you now and see what the cards have to say. And in a lot of ways, all of what I'm sharing began with the Aquarius full moon. So if you feel like some of this is already coming up for you and you want to share in the comments, let me know. Some of this already came up for some of us during the Aquarius full moon, especially this deeper stuff I'm talking about. Freeing ourselves emotionally, changing our perceptions. It's really about taking back our power. That's really what this is about, taking back our power to create the life that we want. To realize that really we're the ones in charge. Of course, we have our spiritual helpers and our source and all of that assisting us. Okay. Cancer. Your card is move in a new direction, the traveler. Yes, this new moon's happening in your 3rd house, and the eclipse that's happening in Pisces is going to be in your 9th house of foreign travel, and that is the mini culmination of this new moon. So some of you are thinking about foreign travel. Leave me a comment if you are. Some of you could be moving to another country. Some of you are just going to be traveling to another country. Whether it's actual travel or it's about choosing a new direction, this card is encouraging you to move in a new direction, Cancer. And up here we have this compass, right? And there's a map in the background. So this is very cool. Are you feeling inspired to travel or move to another place or to do something in your life that would be a quote unquote new direction, a new chapter? If so, and you want to share, let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear, and you will inspire all of us. Gemini. Hello, beautiful Gemini. Gemini, I have my natal sun in Gemini, and Gemini risings are going to experience this Virgo new moon in your 4th house of home, family, childhood conditioning, inner child healing. This is the house of belonging. This is the house of our roots. This is where we want to feel solid and stable. And if you are not a Gemini rising, but you have a Gemini sun or a moon or another placement, the themes that I'm speaking about could very well be applicable for you as well. So during this new moon in Virgo, a lot of Geminis are thinking about their home and or their family. They want to feel more rooted. They want to feel more secure. Gemini, is this true for you? Are you thinking about making any kind of change to your home or people that live in your home, perhaps? Perhaps there is, I'm just seeing an image of a revolving door. So there could be someone coming in, there could be someone leaving. This is a great new moon for doing some inner child healing. Why do I say this? Because Geminis will get a square from the new moon, and a square is discombobulating. A square is not always, but because Uranus is also in Gemini, and that's a conjunction. Uranus in Gemini is a conjunction, but because Uranus in Gemini is squaring the new moon itself, they're squaring each other. It's very possible that you will feel some sort of activation. It's a pressure or tension that is encouraging you, Gemini, to take some action. I love that about squares. I love that we stop thinking and we start doing. That's important, obviously, to getting any kind of momentum right in our lives. We have to take some sort of action. Eclipse season is always about upgrading. And again, it starts eclipse season because it's not an eclipse, but it will culminate in 2 different eclipses, a mini culmination 2 weeks from now, and then 6 months from now, it will culminate in a Virgo eclipse. So this really is the time to plant seeds. What does your heart most want? Do you want a new home? Do you want to build a new home? Do you want to move? Do you want to lighten your emotional load? Do you want to feel more secure within yourself? That's the inner child here. This is the fourth house is the most foundational part of our chart, where we either had our emotional needs met or didn't, or did some of the time and didn't others of the time, part of the time, which is a lot of us. And that means that there is a part of us, there is a sweet child within each and every one of us that was often, for a lot of us on a spiritual path, was in some way, doesn't know the truth of who she is or he is, doesn't know their full power, is still potentially, and this could be very subconscious, maybe not, maybe something you're not even aware of, still in some way looking to our external environment, other people, likes and all of that stuff that is it's very much in our culture. Still looking, or wanting your boss to like your work so that you get a raise, or that, wanting coworkers to like you so that you can all be happy together. Like, there's a lot of different ways that this can play out. But this new moon is saying that to the extent that we let other people, as we say, live in our head rent free, we are meant to change that, release that, and realize that, and take our power back. It's really about taking our power back. So again, very practical change in home, very practical change with a family member, or maybe you heal a relationship with a family member, or this could have to, and it could be a sibling for you, because Geminis are, siblings are connected to the Gemini sign, but also lovers, and the Gemini sign is also connected to decision making. A lot of Geminis can have trouble making decisions because there's so many options, right? It's a buffet. There are so many choices. How do I choose? And a lot of times Geminis I know when I go out to eat as a Gemini sun, a lot of times I'm like, okay, it's between these two things. It's almost always between two things, two dishes that I want to order, which I laugh at myself about. It's very Gemini. Or if I buy a gift, if like my daughter is having a birthday, I almost always get two things, which is so Gemini. But anyway, you could relate to that too. And you might feel like you are trying to make a decision between two things. And sometimes there's a third option that we haven't even thought about, which this new moon may show us. So it's a vision, it's a fresh start, it's a new beginning. What do you want to seed for this, Gemini? This is the time to do it during this new moon, and I'm going to pull a card for you now. It's all about freedom. Geminis need freedom as much as any other sign. It's a big battle cry for Geminis. It's all about freeing yourself, and this one's going to be emotional freedom for a lot of us. Realizing you had the power all along. And the other thing I want to say is Geminis need to feel understood. They need to feel understood, but here's the thing. This new moon wants us to release our need to feel understood by others. And that's a big one for Geminis to release, because we can't control other people's perceptions of us. And that's a big one for Geminis to release. It really is. But, when we set boundaries and they're not honored, or the other person gives us pushback, which often happens, it's important and helpful to remember they don't have to like it. They don't have to like it. Okay, Gemini, your card. The High Priest, intend and create. I love this so much. Right now we have Uranus in your sign. You are meant to intend and co-create what you most want with the universe. You have focus going for you, and that's not easy for most Geminis either, to be in a place of focus. And this card has this bird, which is Gemini energy. The birds are air energy. What do you see in this card, Gem? What do you see? If you want to leave me a comment and let me know. To me, he looks very, very focused. He knows he's not doing it alone. He is taking back his power to co-create with the universe. Whatever you see, if you want to share it, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Taurus. Hello, beautiful Taurus. Taurus, you are going to experience the Virgo new moon in your 5th house of love, romance, children, and creative expression. unbridled, free creative expression in a way that brings you joy. The fifth house is the house of our inner muse. This is where you are meant to enjoy yourself. You're meant to bring more pleasure into your life, to have adventures. This is the house of, this is where people make babies. This is where people enjoy the freedom and the deliciousness of life, Taurus, which you know a lot about, because Taurians want to experience life through their five senses. That's a big part of the Taurian experience. And that's the fifth house, is the five senses. So this new moon is a new beginning, of course. It is a fresh start. It's a vision, and it's your vision for eclipse season because it jumpstarts eclipse season. And eclipses course correct us. They move us into new possibility. They, sometimes they force change. Sometimes they invite change. It's all up to us. But you get a trine from this energy, and trines are the most harmonious aspect. So there's a nice flow for you, at least to your Taurus energy. If you have planets or points in other signs that are being activated, then that can show up differently. But for your Taurian energy, you're getting a really nice wind at your back, fresh breeze blowing with this new moon, which should help the fact that Uranus is squaring the new moon. So let's see what the cards have to say for you. And before I do that, this is a very fertile new moon for you if you do want to get pregnant. If you don't, well then, this is also a very lovely new moon for meeting a romantic partner. This is also great for anything that you want to create, whether it is anything artistic, anything that you design, anything that comes from your heart, Taurus, anything that comes from your inspiration. A really good time to delight your inner child, to ask for the divine to bring you intuitive messages, inspiration. If you need new inspiration, if you want to change things up in your life, doing that before Uranus comes in and makes a square can sometimes be helpful, because if we take on something new and different, if we shift the way we're thinking, if we shift, all signs have a growing edge, something that they're working on, the quote unquote shadow, right? And for Taurians, a lot of times it is working too hard. It's not wanting change. Not that anyone's human self really generally wants change, but you guys can resist change. You guys can be a little bit, set in your ways, which I understand. We all have Taurus somewhere in our chart. So I get that too. Wherever we have Taurus, a lot of times we're like, it's good the way it is. I don't really need to change the way I do this, until Uranus comes along and says, oh, wait a minute, we're changing it for you, right? So that's why I say, this is a good time with the fifth house new moon to give yourself permission to, even if it starts with the proverbial taking a different route to work, taking a different, when you normally take a walk here, walking in a different place, or going to a different place to eat, that kind of thing, changing up some of those everyday choices that are basically risk-free. That's a good way to get the new energy flowing. Okay, so Taurus, and deep down, what's going on here? We're freeing ourselves emotionally from any heavy weight that we've carried, where we've tried to control things in our life that are uncontrollable, that are out of our control. That is what this new moon is helping us to release, especially any childhood conditioning that had us carrying a heavier load. Then we're trying to lighten the universe wants us to lighten our load right now, because we're moving into new territory, new soul trajectories, new chapters. Taurus, let's see what the cards have to say for you. Taurus, the magic guardian, unlock the magic within. I love this so much. I love this so much. It's just, here's all the gold, all the abundance and the sunlight. You have magic inside of you, Taurus. You have the key. You carry the key. See what she's holding in her hand? It looks like she's holding fire, steam, something like that. Something magical she's holding. You have the ability to tap into the magic during this new moon always, but especially during this new moon in your fifth house of creativity, to tap into it. And I'm being directed up to the sun image of the sun with all these rays going out, and it feels like a third eye activation or a crown chakra activation for you. And you can see, as long as you stay with your heart, the heart on her dress, as long as what you want is aligned with your heart, Taurus, you will be unstoppable. If you want to claim your magic in the comments below, let us know. I would love to hear. Aries, hello, beautiful Aries. Aries, you are going to be experiencing this new moon in Virgo in your 6th house of daily work, your relationships with coworkers, your work environment, your connection to your supervisor if you have one. Also your lifestyle, what kind of lifestyle you want, the freedom you have or don't have, the flexibility, habits, how you eat, how you move your body, your exercise routines, all routines, even things like, do I work at home versus do I want to work in an office? All of these things, your vision for your everyday life. Do you feel free? This new moon wants us to feel free. It wants to free us. That is the Uranus square. And also wellness on all levels, health and wellness, self-care routines. This is what's up for you. Is there anything that you want to change? Aries, you're ruled by Mars, and Mars is very connected to the physical body. Do you feel like you are moving energy? Aries have to move energy. It helps you to keep a clear mind. It helps you to feel good in your body. We all need to feel good in our bodies, but especially when you are an Aries and you're ruled by Mars. There's a lot that you can process emotionally through physical movement, working out, and so on. So it's very, very important for you. So big picture, this new moon as the first lunation in the eclipse season, even though it's not an eclipse, it will culminate in 2 different eclipses at 2 different, I talk about that in part 1 of this video. Because of that, there's a new trajectory that you are meant to take on in this area of your life. And for some of you, it could mean that you change your work or work environment. For others of you, you may have to face the fact that there's something unhealthy in your work environment or a relationship with a coworker or a boss. For others of you, it could have to do with a pet. Maybe you want a new pet. Maybe your pet needs attention. Or it could have to do with changing your diet or your exercise in some way or taking on a new habit. Overall, it's saying, are you happy do you feel like you're in your optimal health? Is there anything that you want to change with that? And some of you are going to change your work in some way. Some of you are going to change where you work, who you work for, what you do. And for some of you, that could be starting a new business. So some of you may just want to physically move your home, and that changes your work. So Aries, let's see what the cards have to say for you. Remember, this is a fresh start. It's a new beginning, but it's like a fresh start amplified because it happening during eclipse season and initiating eclipse season. And, it may bring spiritual awakening or spiritual, like deep-seated things that are underneath the surface, because the lunar eclipse will happen in your 12th house as well. And 2 weeks after this new moon will be a lunar eclipse, and that is going to be on that axis of your 6th and your 12th. You could be having things go on in your subconscious mind, in your your divine connection, but also your dreams. You could find during eclipse season, beginning with this new moon, that your dreams are more intense. Listen to the intuitive messages, Aries. Listen to what, is happening around you. Just as an example, I've been seeing a lot of owls on my walks in the neighborhood that I'm living in now, and I post some of those on Instagram. They're so cool. But it's like that. Like you may have, to me, that's very 12th house to have, and I'm having a Uranus 12th house transit right now. But, these other beings like owls and they're so magical and mystical. And it can be really lovely to realize that other beings are bringing you information that could be shifting in different ways, like profoundly shifting. So let's see, Aries, what the cards have to say for you. Aries, your card is exchange energy to create abundance, the trader. So a couple of things come to mind. First of all, this is about your energy and energy exchange, which is very 6th house. As I spoke about in part 1 of this video, Virgo energy is how we use and manage our energy. Some of you may feel like you need more abundance coming into your life. Some of you, it could be like, I'm not happy with my lifestyle. I want to change my lifestyle. Some of you could want to move to another country. Some of you could want to retire. Some of you may be saying, yeah, I'm going to change the way I work with money. I'm going to change the way I earn money. Or maybe you just feel like there's something that you love doing. Maybe you are someone who makes something like pillows, or you create something. Maybe you're an artist. Maybe you want to start a new business. Maybe you want to start an import-export business. Maybe you want to start earning money doing what you love, but you're not ready yet to like put it out there as a business. And so a lot of times when we're just learning something, like if you're learning to be a coach, you're learning to do something, a lot of times people will start by doing trades with people when they're just learning. And it's another way to bring more energy in, but it's an energy exchange. So make sure, however you're exchanging, it feels reciprocal to you. Like if you're doing a trade with someone, make sure it's something that you value as much as they value what you're offering. Beautiful Aries, if anything that I shared in this reading, either the card or the astrology message, let us know in the comments below if you'd like to share. I'd love to hear. Pisces. Hello, beautiful Pisces. Pisces, you are one of the ones who are going to be most affected by this eclipse season. Are you going through a big life change? Are you anticipating a big life change? Are you at the point of a turning point, pivoting, as we say? That's what eclipse season shows for you. Now, where you have your planets or points, what degrees, will depend on how much you're going to feel the energies of this eclipse season. But a lot of people are going to feel it because this new moon, for example, which jumpstarts eclipse season, is happening at 0 degrees. And then the eclipse in your sign is at 15. And then the lunar eclipse, it's happening later in September. That's going to be at 29 degrees of Virgo. So, and this is an axis, the Pisces Virgo axis, right? So a lot of people are going to feel this because it spans these degrees of 0 to 29. But if you haven't watched my video yet on the lunar nodes in Pisces and Virgo, the North Node, of course, in your sign, the North Node of Destiny, Pisces, I highly encourage you to watch that. It's a lot in that video to really help you understand what's going on with eclipse season and with the lunar nodes in your, the North Node in your sign. So because this new moon's in Virgo, it's a fresh start. It's a new beginning. It's the 0 degrees, the origin of planting that seed, the starting point, the 0 point of what your heart most wants. Very, very important. For you, the new moon is happening in your 7th house of partnerships. So are you thinking about partnerships? This can be a partner that you want to have. It can be partnering with your soul. It can be an existing partnership, a new vision for what the two of you want to do together, how you can meet goals that you have. You could be at a turning point in partnership. You could be trying to decide if who you're with right now, if you're with someone, is the right thing. So many different ways this can play out, right? But also you could be in a relationship that feels complicated. You could feel like there are, you're at a turning point, you're at a decision point. The South Node is in Virgo, and that's where the new moon is. They're not making a conjunction, the new moon and the South Node, but they're co-present, which means we are meant to release the shadow of Virgo energy, which I go into at length in part 1 of this video. So if you want to know what are you meant to release during this new moon shadow-wise, it would be any fears around relationship. It would be any places where you have over-sacrificed, where you've overgiven, maybe where you've ignored red flags. It's also, the shadow is perfectionism. The shadow is trying to control situations we can't control. That's a big part of this new moon. A big theme is letting go of the things we cannot control and sourcing our security from within, as opposed to, expecting others to do, be, or whatever the way we want them, the things we want them to do. When we do that, we can experience more pain as a result, or we can drive people away. So this new moon is saying we have to source. It's not saying don't have conversations with partners, don't let them know your needs. It's not saying don't work together to meet your mutual needs. It's not saying that. I'm not saying that. But this new moon really does support us to release the external, our dependencies on things that we can't control. And for you, it would be in that area of partnership. During this new moon anyway, Pisces, and also during the lunar eclipse that's coming after this new moon, which I'm going to share with you when I do a separate video on that. So Pisces, let us see what the cards have to say for you. For your new moon in Virgo in your 7th house of partnerships. And I should say partnerships can be business relationships or romantic partners, marriages, significant others, anyone that you spend a lot of time with or who is important in your life. You have their back, they have your back. That's this house. Pisces. And you do give a lot, Pisces. That's the Pisces energies. Pisces energy. Pisces tend to give a lot. And this new moon wants us to see where maybe we've given too much. We are used to giving more than we're receiving back. The equal give and take of the 7th house. That's important. Reciprocity. Okay, your card is Trust and Thrive, the Stag. So the Stag is a teacher. The stag, there's wisdom in the antlers, the wise sage within you. But it's also representing, and some of you may be teachers, but it's also representing gentleness. The stag, the deer family, its medicine is gentleness, treading lightly, not pushing things, knowing that you have the wisdom within you to navigate any situation. And this is clearly saying you have to trust the process. Trust and you will thrive. It's not saying don't have the conversations that are important. It's not saying sweep things under the rug. It's not saying deny yourself. It's saying do everything with gentleness that you can do and then trust the process and you will thrive. So if you want to claim you're trusting and thriving, Pisces, in the comments below, let us know. I would love to hear. Aquarius, Aquarius, beautiful Aquarius. You are going to experience this Virgo new moon in your 8th house. This is a new beginning, a fresh start in the house of transformation, the house of emotional attachments, the house of power and control. It is an intense place to have a lunation when, especially, there is a hard aspect that's happening to this new moon, and that is the square from Uranus. Uranus is a shaker-upper. So, Aquarius, you could experience during this new moon some sort of unexpected moment that is waking you up to where you need to reclaim your power. Really, this new moon is about emotional freedom. So it's a perfect place to have a new moon like this because this new moon wants to free us emotionally. It wants us to take back our power. And for you, taking back your power could have to do with sharing resources with other people, money, time, or energy, dividing assets for some of you. Emotional and sexual intimacy, taxes, loans, investments. It's a financial and a relationship house. Some of you could be selling real estate or wanting to buy real estate. Some of you could be really focused right now on your investments. You could be wanting to create a new plan. You could be wanting to rework a portfolio if you have one. My eye is very much being directed by the divine right now to that word that I wrote on my notes, emotional attachments. Is there anything that you are attached to that you feel like must be a certain way? You see, because this new moon wants us to release control over what we can't control. And we can't control another person. We can't control the stock market. We can't control, right? All we can do is, have an intention and do our best to guide, steer things in the direction that we want them to, express our needs and all of that. But we can't control the ultimate outcome. That's the hard thing about being human, right, Aquarius? We can't control the ultimate outcome. We have to let go to a certain degree. And so this new moon is going to help you with that. It's going to help you wherever you feel like you've got a tight grip on something, where something could be happening that is outside of your control, especially because Pluto retrograde in your sign is close enough to the degree of this new moon. I didn't talk about it in part one because we had other things to talk about, but it is making a quincunx Aquarius. The new moon is quincunxing Pluto. And a quincunx can be an awkwardness. It can be where your Aquarius energy wants something, but the Virgo energy wants something else. So we have to be fiercely honest with ourselves. We have to let go of what we can't control and accept. For some people, some of you are going to have to accept that something is the way it is, but there are options. That's Uranus and Gemini showing you other options. There are other options. But sometimes, someone has to let go of the rope, right? If we're in that tug of war, somebody has to say, okay, I'm going to release and let go, and I'm going to ask the universe to show me my options. Show me where I do have power. Show me where I do have the ability to control my situation. And so make sure, well, I'm getting bossy. I encourage you to look at how you're perceiving things and see if you can change your mindset about something. Is there a way that you can perceive it? Not to give up your power, but is there a way you're perceiving something that doesn't allow for forward movement or progress? And if you have made any investment or any monetary decision, or even a decision with a partner that you feel like you can't change, like, if you made a decision with the stock market and you wish you hadn't, anything that you regret, you don't feel like you can change, this is a time to forgive yourself and give yourself the compassion, and to know that you are always doing the best you can with the resources that you have at the time. So many things, so many different resources come into play with decisions, right? But to forgive yourself, big picture. Aquarius. Okay, I'm going to pull a card for you now. And we'll see what the cards have to say. Aquarius. Your card is, Aquarius, this is your card. I love it when this happens. The Star Ancestor, yes. Follow the voice of your soul. I say this is your card because it's, it's the galactic. To me, this is you. All of the star formations, to me, is so you. And this is taking you deep into the cosmic intelligence. That's you, Aquarius. The cosmic intelligence. Throat chakra, the blue on his face. Heart chakra, the green. The pyramids. This is like, sacred geometry. The divine matrix. The power that you have to tap into the higher realms, the galaxy, the stars, the constellations of the signs. Tap into this wisdom, the wisdom of your ancestors. Tap into it because they have a message for you that is going to take you forward during this new moon and eclipse season. Beautiful Aquarius, if you want to claim your soul's knowing, follow the voice of your soul. If you want to claim your ancestral wisdom or your soul's knowing, let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Capricorn. Hello, beautiful Capricorn. Capricorn, you are going to experience the Virgo new moon in your 9th house of expansion. Expansion. I love 9th house lunations. Why? Because they take us into new scenery, either actual new scenery if we are traveling abroad, or armchair travel, or metaphorical new scenery. It's the house of the quest, the spiritual quest. Expanding your knowledge, publishing, teaching, learning, also broadcasting and podcasting, and opening yourself up to new experiences, new adventures, new freedom. Great time to do some sort of travel, to plant seeds for travel. Some of you could be thinking about a new phase of life in which you will travel more. Some of you could be thinking about retiring in another country. Some of you could be thinking about learning a new language. But this is a lovely trine energy for you. You get the wind at your back, you get a fresh breeze blowing you forward, your sails are full, and it's literally moving you forward, this new moon, for your Capricorn energy. Really, really beautiful for you. Anything that you want to do to expand your knowledge, your learning, your spiritual sense, also your belief systems. During this new moon, you might be releasing a belief system that feels like it's in the shadow for you, or maybe something's been in the shadow and you're shining light on it and you're bringing it out. Because there is a quality to this new moon, as I speak about in part 1 of this video, that wants to free us emotionally, wants us to lighten our emotional load and release where we've had too tight of control on things that we can't control. So I give examples and go into that more deeply in part 1 of this video. Capricorn, what do you want to do? Do you have a desire to reach more people with a message? Do you have a desire to maybe create videos or create, as we say, content? I feel like that those words, create content, to me, they're so sterile. I have to say, like, it's so general, right? But we all know what that means. You know, I think of it more as sharing our enthusiasm. That's the 9th house. Sharing your enthusiasm, sharing your wisdom. Is there something you want to create, or do you want more freedom? You want more adventure in your life? This is the time to seed that vision. As we begin eclipse season, let's see what the cards have to say for you, Capricorn. And just so you know, to your Capricorn energy, these eclipses are going to be very harmonious to you, which is lovely. Whether you have planets or points that are less harmonious in your chart, I would have to do a chart reading to tell you that. You get the winter card. You are a sign of winter, Capricorn, and it says take care of your needs. Do you feel like you're in a winter? I know if you're in the southern hemisphere, you're in that time, right? Also, this is the wolf, and the wolf is also known as the teacher. The wolf is also known as it's a pack animal. It's known for its loyalty. It's known for its ability to take care of others. And that's you too, Capricorn. That's your energy. Have you been taking care of your needs? Is there a need that is going unmet? This whole new moon, all the themes that I speak about in part 1 of this video are about taking care of our needs. They really are. It really is about that. It's us. So this new moon's taking us all the way back on a very deep level to childhood, to past lifetimes where we didn't get our needs met, and now us rising to the occasion to care for that part of us. We can call it reparenting. We can call it self-love. We can call it awakening to where we may have received some sort possibly of trauma that we weren't attending to, that we haven't been aware of. Or if not trauma, just where our needs weren't met. And now we have the opportunity to take care of those needs. So this theme is very much in alignment with the new moon, and the wise teacher within you, the wise sage within you. You might want to call on the wolf as a totem animal. You may want to call on the wolf and see what wisdom the wolf has to share with you. But this is a time to claim, if you want to claim within yourself or in the comments below, Capricorn, that all of your needs are met. Sagittarius, Sagittarius, beautiful Sagittarius, beautiful Sag. Sag, you are going to experience this new moon in Virgo in your 10th house of career. This is legacy. This is life purpose expressed. This is retirement, semi-retirement, or how you spend your time, a vocation, if not an actual work or profession, or, basically what your heart most wants in terms of a passion. It could be a vocation or just what lights you up, what brings you fulfillment. A new chapter is starting for you here, Sag. Why do I say this? Because it is this beginning eclipse season, this new moon. It is. And not only that, you're one of the mutable signs, and the mutable signs are feeling this eclipse season most intensely. The mutable signs are the ones that are being course corrected, redirected, picked up and put in another place, or just awakened to what they want. And some of us don't need to be, moved by the planets, right? Some of us we already know. We've already made the decision. We are already doing what we want to do. We don't need someone else to do that for us. Sometimes we're just in the flow of it, and that's easier. when that happens. But either way, change is upon us if we're a mutable sign, and that's you, Sag. So this new moon is saying, what is your vision for how you want to spend your one wild and precious life? As Mary Oliver so beautifully says it, you get a square from this energy. Squares are tension and pressure that then move us into action. So you're going to feel most likely around this new moon time or during eclipse season that you're being moved into action, that you are being, some of you, if you have you been working someplace for a long time, or you have had a certain career, you may feel like, I just can't do this anymore, or maybe something will happen and you will get reassigned by the universe to something else. That could happen. Or some of you probably are deciding it's finally time for me to retire, or I'm going to semi-retire, or I'm going to take a sabbatical. I'm going to take a leave. I'm going to, do something else. Some of you could do that. I did that at a certain point. I kept working, but I did sell everything I owned at a certain point. Actually, I did two different things. At one period of my life, I put everything in storage and I went and traveled. Sag, you'll get this because both Geminis and Sagittarians love to travel usually. Not all of you, I know, but a lot of you do. So I put everything in storage and then I went and traveled for a long period of time. And then when I moved to Mexico, I sold most of my possessions to move to Mexico. So I don't regret either of those. It was a lot of work. I have to say both times, it was a lot of work, but great experiences, great adventures. So that's one thing that some of you could want to do. Some of you need a break. Some of you want to start a new business. It's your vision. That's what this new moon is saying. What's your vision? How are you being pulled over? Pulled over. How are you being inspired? How are you being inspired to do something new? That's what this new moon is asking you as we head into eclipse season. So let's see, Sag. And sometimes this can affect your home and family sector as well. Okay, Sag. Your card is, ooh, pretty, the Lady. Enjoy growth and reap rewards. There is so much abundance in this card. This is a card of abundance. The greenery, the lushness, the fertility. What does an apple represent to you, Sag? This is saying that some of you are coming into a harvest time, a time of reaping your rewards. What a cool card. Enjoy growth and reaping your rewards, Sag. If you want to claim that you are reaping your rewards. And she's got this lovely jewelry on her arm. She reminds me of someone who's completely following her heart. She's dressing the way she wants to dress. She's expressing herself through her clothing. She has a really close connection to the earth. So if any of that resonates for you, some of you may want to tap into your femininity more, whether you're male or female, the Lady. And just really give yourself credit for how far you've come, Sag. You've come a long way. You deserve everything that you are receiving. And if you want to claim that you're reaping your rewards, let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Scorpio. Hello, beautiful Scorpio. Scorpio, you are going to experience this new moon in Virgo in your 11th house of hopes, wishes, dreams, fulfillment, social alliances, supporters, social media. This is any place that you have a message that you put out into the world. If you have your own business, if you are helping to promote or market a business, anything that you do on social media, whether it's personal or professional, online dating, community, people that this is friendships and people you spend time with, and especially any groups that you spend time with. And big picture, it's hopes, wishes, and dreams and your fulfillment. That's the big picture of this. This is the house of the world is your oyster. What do you desire? The 11th house is where we often experience, if the transits are activating our planets or points in really positive ways, this is often where we experience a lot of abundance. It's also the house of long-term financial gains, the house of gains. And Scorpio, because you're water and Virgo's earth, you guys have a lovely, harmonious, simpatico energy together. And that is a sextile. you're getting a sextile, which is the wind at your back, the breeze filling up your sails, moving you forward. So what does your heart desire, Scorpio? That's really what this new moon is asking. What does your heart desire? Any of the themes that I just mentioned, any of those areas of your life are really being supported during this new moon. It's really up to you to decide what will bring you fulfillment and then to go for that. And if that means, getting out in the world more, doing some travel or connecting with people that are in different places that you don't usually connect with, or expanding your communities, doing online dating, all that stuff. That's all very much supported, including any investments that you make for those long-term financial gains. Scorpio, let's see what the cards have to say for you. Scorpio. Take charge with authority, Scorpio. In what way do you need to take charge? Is it with a group? Are you taking on a leadership position? Is it in something that your heart really wants that you are meant to forge forward on and really claim your authority? There's something that you are meant to claim authority on. There's something that you are meant to be a wise leader or teacher for. And in this card, there is Aries energy, this Ram energy, and, he's holding a staff. He is clearly in his confidence. This is where you are meant to claim your confidence and courage and take charge, especially if this has to do with another person or your own leadership role in anything that you do. Or just maybe it's about making a decision. Maybe it's just deciding. And once you decide, be the authority of your own life. That's a big theme for this new moon, is claiming our authority, taking back our power, and not allowing other people's perceptions, other people's views, opinions. Most of us say these days, I don't care what anyone else thinks. Most of us are like, nothing that anyone else says or does, affects me. But look on social media and you will see people arguing all the time, right? And we don't need to argue if we're clear about if we are our own authority. We don't need to argue. We don't even need to convince other people when we are our own authority. We don't need to prove ourselves to anyone. And I think that might be part of this message as well. Beautiful Scorpio, if anything I shared resonates and you want to claim your authority, take charge, let us know in the comments below. I'd love to hear. Libra. Hello, beautiful Libra. Libra, Mars is still in your sign during this new moon. And having Mars in your sign is very empowering. I hope that you're feeling that empowerment. It is opposing Saturn and Neptune and Aries, and that does make it a little bit more challenging. But this new moon in Virgo is helping us to move forward on the next chapter of our life, Libra. And for you, that is happening in your 6th house. The new beginnings, the new seeds, the very fresh 0-degree point. Virgo new moon is saying everything is possible for you now. In the 12th house, what does that mean? That means the house of our subconscious mind. It could be rewiring your subconscious mind. It could be rest, retreat, your own mystical self. You could have a spiritual awakening. You could have very intense dreams during this new moon. This is also the 12th house connected to foreign lands. So that could be some of you wanting to relocate to a foreign place or travel to a foreign place. Ultimately, this is your divine connection. It's what happens in the other realms. It's a whole other plane of existence, the 12th house. So a new moon here could be you really wanting to up-level your trust in the divine. A new moon here could be definitely an awakening. For some people, it can take them off to an astral travel kind of experience. It can, you could be, because the 12th house is connected to foreign lands, sometimes that is learning a new language too, or getting really excited about other cultures. But big picture, this is your mystical self that wants to come more alive during this eclipse season. And it could have to do with your wellness. wellness mentally, emotionally, physically, because it's across from the 6th house and you will have these eclipses on the 12th and 6th house axis. So Libra, and daily work could come into the picture, your lifestyle. Maybe you want to change your lifestyle. Maybe you want to get more flexibility into your work, less effort, more reward back, that kind of thing, more balance. Lots of different themes that could be coming up for you, but ultimately this new moon wants to free us emotionally, lighten our load so that we can move into the next chapter of life, whatever's calling to us. So Libra, let's see what the cards have to say for you. Libra, your card is, oh, I love this card. This is probably my favorite card in this whole deck. The Heart, Guardian, Love, and Let Yourself Be Loved. I love this card so much. You can call on the angel of love. This, for a lot of you, is going to have to do with bringing more love into your life, receiving love. So much of what I talk about in part 1 of this video connects to where we, as children, it connects to our patterns, connects to our thinking. That's the 12th house, our subconscious mind, our subconscious narrative. This new moon wants to help us reframe that, remold that. For some people, reprogram our subconscious, because our subconscious, for a lot of us, because we didn't get our emotional needs met as children, or they were met, inconsistently for a lot of us, we're learning how to free ourselves from that past conditioning. And that's what a 12th house new moon can do for you. It can make you aware of where you're not able to receive love in the way that would be more fulfilling for you, more secure for you, make you feel more fulfilled in relationships. Love and let yourself be loved. If you want to claim love, a new level of love, perhaps, Libra, or a new level of receiving. If you want to claim it in the comments below, let us know. I'd love to hear. My beautiful friend, thank you so much for joining me for this new moon in Virgo video. Thank you for liking this video, for giving it a thumbs up. Thank you for your comments. I absolutely love your comments. Thank you for your shares of this video. Thank you for your subscribes. All of the ways in which you support the channel really make a huge difference and allow me to continue doing these videos for you. And if you'd like to do an astrology consultation with me or a clarity coaching session, go to my website. There are testimonials from other clients who have worked with me that should give you a sense of whether you feel called to book a session as well. You can do a heart's desire, a life purpose, a natal chart, a relationship harmony reading, or you might want to do a 90-minute astrology consultation. A lot of clients do like to book the 90 minutes so that we have more time to discuss whatever is really up for you in your life right now. I can give you a bit of coaching on that, and it will be my absolute joy to meet you on Zoom. If you'd like to get my free gift, it is a soothing guided meditation to connect you with your spiritual source, to connect you with the unconditional love of the divine. Perfect for this new moon. If you'd like to receive that, go to my website and you'll be able to sign up to get my weekly inspirational astrology updates for free, and you'll get that free instant download guided meditation at the same time. My beautiful friend, let me know your thoughts, your feelings, your intuitive sense of this new moon in Virgo as it does jumpstart eclipse season. It is very, very important and potent. I love to hear your insights, and until my next video, I am sending you all my love.